Hey there again on my Fast Track Superheroes. It's Colton here from JSL for another Fast Track Transition Services video. Really last time we focused on kind of like what kind of degrees, your career planning and things like that. That would be good. So say for now, maybe you just don't want to go to college, maybe you want to get into the workforce. Okay, cool. There are really two key things that you really need right now in order to be able to start applying for jobs and different things like that. One of them is a resume, and one of them is a cover letter. Now, a lot of people kind of get these two confused a lot of the times, and really even myself sometimes, but really the difference we'll cover today, as well as kind of what's important with each one. Really, we're going to focus on the resume and what it is and how it works, and we'll briefly cover the cover letter as well. So, what is a resume, you're probably asking? You probably heard that word being tossed around every so often. Maybe some of your teachers are like, oh, you need to build a resume for going into work and different things like that. Well, we're going to cover what a resume is. A resume is really just a highlight of you and what you've been up to and how, like, your work experience, your education, and things like that. Now, a lot of you are still in high school, so you may not have a lot on your resume right now, which is completely fine, and a lot of employers understand that. Like, a lot of you maybe have just turned 16 and can actually start getting your first job. So you may not have a lot of experience, but it's getting these entry-level jobs and the experience to do it. So really, what's on a resume? Really, what's on a resume is like a summary of qualifications. Like what can you do? Like your experience. So like maybe you've babysat in the past, or maybe you've done different things like that, as well as maybe you've volunteered somewhere, or really just different skills that you've been able to pick up along your way. So it's like, are you organized? Are you able to maintain things in a timely manner? Things like that. It's just a brief highlight of like 3 to 5 bullet points that really summarize you in the workforce. Next one is your education. A lot of you are still in high school, so what do you put for this? Well, it's kind of difficult because all you're going to have is whatever high school you're at and then anticipated graduation date. And you really don't want to put like middle school or elementary school in there because it's not really that important. High school is, because like you're still in high school and they need to know your age, really. So that, but like if say you want to go to college or you want to go to a university or a trade school or different things like that, once you complete those things or you're in those programs, you put those on the resume. And that's kind of an important thing too, because it shows you're bettering yourself and going into these different programs. And then the last one is kind of like your experience. It's similar to your skills, or similar qualifications, but experience. Do you have any work experience? Like volunteering, maybe you've worked at Pause, or maybe you've worked at Salvation Army, or maybe you've helped your mom out with her job sometimes, decorating or something like that. Those are things you put on here for experience. And though you may not have been paid for it, it's good experience. Or maybe you were a babysitter, and you can say, oh, I babysat from this day to this day for this many kids, and kind of what you did. So now we're going to kind of go over like the basic formatting, or like how resumes should look. So really, your name should be in like large print, like your first and last name, really big. So like I'm talking 16 to 20 point font here, so they know who you are and are ready for it. You also need your email and telephone number on there as well. And I'm going to link a guide and kind of things to go with it in the description below. Also, all of your information fills the page. Majority of you guys will only have a 1-page resume, and really, that's all employers are looking for from you guys. 1 page. Doesn't need to be more, doesn't need to be less. 1 page. As well as, you only want to use 1 font. You don't want to use like very different fonts to make it look pretty. 1 font, straight and simple, makes it easy. As well as consistent with using your bold and italics. Like say you have a heading, it's like, oh, summary of qualifications, big. And then here's some of qualifications. They're not italics, they're not anything else. As well as, you want to make sure it's free from spelling errors. I know I'm pretty bad at this as well, and it really takes a lot of time to be able to proofread and look at your things, and being able to look at it and be like, okay, that doesn't sound right, and getting a second opinion of what it looks like. As well as, make sure you have a copy where you can keep changing it up, because as you'll figure out when you get older as well, your resume doesn't stay the same, constantly changes. As it constantly changes based on what job you're applying for. And your next question you're probably going to ask is like, what do you mean? And why do I have to change it? Because once you gain more experience, you don't want any of the, we call it extra fluff. So jobs that don't really apply, right, to your job you're applying for. You want all the job and the experiences that relate to the job you're applying for. So yeah, it's important to research kind of the company and things like that, what the job you're applying for would do, and you want to match your resume for that. And really kind of the way I think of a resume is, think of yourself. I know it's really hard to think positively about yourself, and that's why resumes are very difficult to kind of do. But think of yourself as, okay, me, I can only really think of my negative. Now, I want to portray my best possible self to my employers. Now, you don't want to lie, but you want to make it sound like you're able to do this job, and you probably are. Or you just want to make sure that they look at all the things that you're good at, and maybe not necessarily things that you're not so good at. So it's kind of like you're putting on a mask, kind of, and portraying somebody else, but really it is yourself, but it's the more better version of yourself, if that makes sense. So, yeah. So, again, we're going to kind of break down the section. Summary qualifications. What skills do you have? Are you organized? Are you able to have really good time management? Or you're goal oriented, so like you have something and you want to get it done in a timely manner. Things like that. And then you got your education, so like high school, things like that. And then experience. So what's kind of unique about resumes is you always want to put what you're doing right now or your most recent at the top, and then go from there. So like say you're in high school right now. All right. So a lot of times people want to be like, oh, that happened first, so it should be first. No, because if you go to college, that's your most recent and that's your most up-to-date. You want to do the most up-to-date first on all of your lines, except really for your skills of qualification or summary of qualifications. Those change all the time. Your schooling doesn't really change. You may go to a different program or get a different degree, but those don't really change, or those change once you complete the degree. But you want to do the most recent first. So like say you graduate high school, then you go to like maybe a community college for 2 years. So you put the community college and then your high school will be underneath it. Same thing with jobs or like volunteer experiences. You do your most recent first and then go to your least experience. So say maybe you're a volunteer at a local organization, or maybe pause what you do and different things like that at first, and then maybe you were a babysitter before that, so you put babysitter underneath it. It's kind of confusing, but once you get the gist of kind of how things work, it's pretty straightforward. And I'll provide a link of kind of like a template and things for you to look at. Now, that being said, we're going to talk about a cover letter. Now, a lot of places use cover letters now as well. Now, a cover letter is something that it's like a little bitty letter that employers ask for, to be like, hey, this is who I am. It's kind of like a snapshot, like a little picture of who you are and like why you feel you're qualified for this position, like where you heard from it, about it from, maybe you heard it from the news, maybe you heard it from a friend, different things like that. And so you say like, oh, I did this, you feel like you're a good candidate for this position because of X, Y, Z, and then go from there. And it's kind of weird because you're, again, trying to sell yourself to your future employer. And if you guys have any questions about it, I'm going to obviously link the template below, but feel free to contact me and we'll figure it out together. And then you always want to say, like, thank you for taking the time to look over my resume and cover letter, and I hope to hear from you in the coming week about maybe possibly scheduling a job interview and things like that. Because you want the job, obviously. You just got to prove that you want it. So that's resumes and cover letters. Now I know it's kind of crazy and daunting, and it's something that's going to take you a while to finally get the understand of, and me, I'm still trying to understand it myself too. It's kind of crazy, and it, like, oh, should I put that on there? Should I not? Feel free to contact me and we can discuss it later. So now, kind of end on a good highlight note, we're going to talk about the superhero highlight of the week. So, a lot of you know, the character like Captain Marvel, from the Marvel series. Well, did you know there's actually another Captain Marvel in the DC universe? Now, in the DC universe, this is a gentleman who is a paraplegic, so he can't really move his limbs very well, and he's in a wheelchair. Well, one day, he comes upon this crazy wizard named Shazam. Shazam was like, I can make you an amazing person, and all of these things. And I'm like, he's like, okay, fine, let's do it. Now, however, the problem is he says the words Captain Marvel. He's able-bodied, can like fly, can do a lot of these superpowers, but only for a short period of time. And once that happens, he's back in his wheelchair, and he's stuck there, unfortunately. So the reason I kind of brought up Captain Marvel is because he kind of has two fronts. It's in two different personalities. Yes, he's Captain Marvel, I'm going to save the day, I'm going to do everything, but he's also a basic person as well, with different flaws and different strengths and different weaknesses as his counterpart Captain Marvel. So this kind of ties in with resumes and cover letters is yes, you are the person that is normal, well, if normal is a real word, but on a daily basis. But with a resume and cover letter, you want to be that Captain Marvel. You want to be amazing. You want to like show all of your best qualities, and to your employers. And then once they hire you, they'll get the gist of it, everything, and everything will be great, and hopefully you'll get the job. So that's this week's video. I hope everybody is doing great, staying healthy, and I always want to remind you guys to always look on the upside, especially right now. Things can be kind of crazy and chaotic, but hope everybody's doing well and doing great, and I'll look for you in the next video. See you guys later.